Compound interest. If you save money in a bank, credit union, or post office, your money will earn interest. Interest is the money added to an amount invested or borrowed over a certain period of time. Compound interest on a sum invested is calculated so that as time goes on, you get interest on the interest as well as on the original sum invested. The sum invested or borrowed is known as the principal. Example 1. David invests €1,000 for 2 years. The compound interest rate is 8%. Part 1. Calculate how much David will have in the bank after, so at the end of 2 years. And part 2, what is the total amount of interest earned? So David starts off with €1,000. That's his principal amount. He puts that into the bank. He keeps it there for 2 years. And he's going to earn a compound interest rate of 8%. So that means he's going to get 8% interest on €1,000 in the first year. And whatever amount he gets, whatever amount of interest he gets added to the €1,000. And then in the second year, he gets 8% interest on the €1,000 plus whatever interest he got in the first year. So that's why it's known as compound interest, because it gets compounded. So the investment at the start of year 1 is €1,000. That's his principal amount. It's very important to distinguish between the start of a year and the end of a year. So at the start of year 1, he has €1,000 to put into the bank. That's his principal amount. He earns 8% interest on that €1,000. So he starts off with 100%. So the €1,000 is 100%. He gets 100% plus 8%, which is 108%. And 108% as a decimal is 1.08. So to change percentages into decimals, we just divide by 100. So 1.08 divided by 100 is 1.08. So we're going to get 108% of €1,000. And in maths, of means multiply. So we're going to multiply 108% by 1,000. But we're going to use the decimal, so we're going to multiply 1.08 by 1,000. So his final amount at the end of year 1 is €1,000 multiplied by 1.08, which is €1,080. So this is his amount in the bank at the end of year 1. So he started off with €1,000, and at the end of year 1, he has €1,080. Now remember, he's investing for 2 years, so we're not actually finished. Now, if you don't like using this method, another way of getting €1,080, just a little bit longer, is to get 8% of 1,000. So you can do 8 and the percentage symbol multiplied by 1,000, because of means multiply. Or if you want to change 8% into a decimal, so 8% is 0.08, so multiplying that by 1,000. Either way, 8% of 1,000 is €80, and then add it on to the 1,000, and you'll still get €1,080. So it's up to you what method you want to use, but this is much quicker. So this is how much money he has in the bank at the end of year 1. So now we have to do the entire process again, except he no longer starts off with €1,000. He's starting year 2 with €1,080. So we're going to get 8% of €1,080. So his investment at the start of year 2 is €1,080. It's no longer €1,000 because the interest is being compounded. The interest he made in the first year gets added on to his principal amount. So now he has €1,080 in the bank. So now we're going to get 8% of that. So his final amount at the end of year 2 is going to be €1,080, again multiplied by 1.08, because the interest rate is still 8, and that gives us €1,166.40. So this is the amount of money he has in the bank at the end of year 2. Notice that it's not the same amount of money that he had in the bank at the start of year 2. You have to be very careful when you're talking about the start or the end of a year. So at the end of year 2, he has €1,166.40. And in the question, it said he was investing for 2 years, so we don't have to go on any further. So this is his investment at the end of 2 years. So we were asked to calculate how much David will have in the bank after 2 years. That means at the end of 2 years, he's going to have €1,166.40. So his amount at the end of 2 years is €1,166.40. Question 2, what is the total amount of interest earned? So he started off with €1,000. He now has €1,166.40. We want to find the difference, so we want to subtract. So his interest earned will be his final amount, which is €1,166.40, minus the principal he invested, which is €1,000, and that will be €166.40. So notice there was a good bit of working out to do in part 1, but what we did that was the same each time was multiplied by 1.08. And since we did that twice, what would have been quicker would have been to multiply by 1.08 squared. And if we had been asked for 3 years, we could have multiplied by 1.08 cubed. And if we'd been asked for 4 years, we could have multiplied by 1.08 to the power of 4 and so on. So we're going to have a look now at a formula we could have used to work out this question much quicker. So in example 1, so the example we just looked at, each year for 2 years, we multiplied by 1.08, which is 108%. So we could very quickly get the same result by multiplying €1,000 by 1.08 squared. This would be written as 1,000 multiplied by 1.08 squared, which again would give us €1,164.40. Much quicker method. So this gives us a formula for compound interest. So the compound interest formula is F equals P multiplied by 1 plus I to the power of T, where the F stands for the final amount, the P stands for the principal, so the amount of money invested or borrowed, the I stands for the annual interest rate, and we usually write it as a decimal, change it into a decimal because it's given in a percentage. And the T stands for the time in years, so the power is the number of years. And this formula is in the formulae and tables booklet on page 30. So now we're going to look at a couple of examples using that formula. Michelle invests €3,000 at an annual interest rate of 3.5%. Find the amount of her investment after, so at the end of 3 years. So the €3,000 is her principal amount, the amount she invests. The interest rate, the I, is 3.5%, and the T, time, is 3 years. So we start by writing out the formula. F, which is the final amount, equals P, which is the principal, multiplied by 1 plus I to the power of T. So the I stands for the interest rate, 3.5%. The T stands for the number of years, 3. So the P is €3,000, the principal amount. We multiply that by 1 plus 0.035. So 3.5%, to change it into a decimal, we divide by 100, gives us 0.035. Now be really careful that you don't just write down 3.5 or 0.35, it's 0.035. So to change a percentage into a decimal, we divide by 100. 3.5 divided by 100 is 0.035. And then the T is 3, the number of years is 3. Then 1 plus 0.035 is going to be 1.035. And putting this into the calculator, we get €3,326.15, correct to the nearest cent. So again, notice that the 3.5% is 0.035 as a decimal. Kate borrows €2,500 from a bank at 11% compound interest per year. She pays it off in a lump sum after 2 years. How much will she have to pay in total? So this time someone is borrowing money, they're not investing money, but the method is still the same. So we start by writing out the formula. F, which stands for the final amount, is equal to P, which stands for the principal amount, multiplied by 1, plus I, which stands for interest, all to the power of T, which stands for time. So P, the principal amount, is €2,500. We got that in the question. That's the amount she borrows. The I is 11% interest. So changing a percentage to a decimal, we divide by 100. 11 divided by 100 is 0.11. So be careful with changing your percentages to decimals. And then the T, the time, is 2 years. And then 1 plus 0.11 is going to be 1.11. So inputting into the calculator, 2,500 multiplied by 1.11 raised to the power of 2 gives us €3,080.25. So this is the amount of money she's going to have to pay in total. A business borrows €50,000 from the bank to upgrade some equipment. The bank charges an interest rate of 9% on this loan. The business pays back €15,000 in the first year and €15,000 in the second year. How much will the business owe to the bank at the end of the second year? So in this question, we cannot use the formula because there are repayments made. Because they're paying back €15,000 in the first year and €15,000 in the second year, we cannot use the formula. So we're going to have to do it out the long way like we did in the very first example. So at the start of year 1, the loan amount is €50,000 and the interest rate is 9%. Now, 100% plus 9% is 109%. And to change 109% into a decimal, we divide by 100. 109 divided by 100 is 1.09. So this is going to be our multiplier, 1.09. So at the end of year 1, the amount owed on the loan at the end of year 1 is €50,000 multiplied by 1.09, which is €54,500. So now we're going to have to take off the €15,000 that they're paying back. So subtracting the loan repayment of €15,000 leaves us with €39,500. And now we're going to apply the same process with the same multiplier, and we're going to do this again, but this is going to be our new amount. So €39,500. So at the start of year 2, the loan amount is €39,500. It's no longer 50,000 because, first of all, interest has been gained on it, but they've also made a repayment. So this is our new principal amount. The interest rate, however, has not changed. The interest rate is still 9%. So the end of year 2, the amount owed on the loan at the end of year 2 is going to be €39,500 multiplied by 1.09, which gives us €43,055. Now we're going to have to subtract the other €15,000 that it said in the question that they would pay back at the end of the second year. So taking away the loan repayment of €15,000, we're left with €28,055. So the business owes €28,055 to the bank after or at the end of 2 years.